Hey everyone, today we'll be looking at the Nobsound AV525 integrated amplifier. This amplifier is very similar to the Dayton Audio HTA200 that I reviewed a few months ago. Let's first take a look at it and then I'll share with you the differences. On the front top of the unit, we have 3 sets of tubes per side for preamplification, and at the center we have a rectifier tube that regulates the voltage to 75 volts. Behind the tubes we have 2 toroidal transformers that power the amplifier unit. The power amplifier section is a Class AB design and uses a set of 4 Toshiba 5200 PNP transistors and a set of 4 1943 NPN transistors. Those giving you 100 watts per channel on a 4 ohm load or 70 watts per channel into an 8 ohm load. I'll get this unit plugged up and we can see what the front looks like. On the far left of the unit, we have a push and power button followed by 4 buttons at the bottom. We have a input selector, a pause play, and a forward track and back track. Now those transport buttons would be used if you had some music on a USB drive and you put it into the USB-A port on the front. Next we have some very cool right and left VU meters, followed by a set of treble and bass tone controls that feel super nice and smooth to the hand, and you have a little center indent, giving you plus or minus 9 dBs of attenuation. And finally the volume control. Now this pot isn't quite as smooth as the tone controls, but it is motorized, so you get to use the Nobsound volume control to control the volume up and down from the comfort of your chair. On the remote control, we have the same transport buttons, a volume up and down, an input selector, and a mute. We don't have power with this unit. You do have to come on up and hit the power button to shut it off at night. Let's take a look at the backside. On the far left, we have our Bluetooth antenna, followed by our digital inputs, one on coaxial, one on optical. Above that, we have a variable sub-out that does send a full range signal and does go up and down with the volume control. And 2 sets of analog ins, one labeled CD, one labeled DVD. Next to that, our 5-way binding post speaker level outs, a cooling fan, and our IEC inlet. The fan does kick in when I turn the volume pot past 12 o'clock, but it is fairly quiet. As I was saying earlier, this unit is very similar to the Dayton Audio HTA200. You do have some slight differences. The HTA200 trades one of the analog inputs for a phono input. That unit also has a USB-B input for connecting this to a computer and using as a DAC. And the final other difference that I saw is that this unit provides you with 20 watts more power than the HTA200 on an 8 ohm load. This unit can handle 70 watts per channel versus the 50 watts per channel on 8 ohms on the HTA200. More on those digital ins. Like the HTA200 and some of our Relic products, this unit uses an SoC instead of a discrete DAC chip and uses the BP1048 by Mountain View Silicon. That system on a chip handles the digital to analog conversion as well as the Bluetooth, and is capable of up to 16 bits 48 kHz. I tested this unit in various ways. First I compared it to the Shit Record Class A amp, and then I compared its internal DAC with an external DAC from Doak, the U8. Sonically speaking, this little amp sounds beautiful. For the $380 that Nobsound is asking for it, I think it's a solid value. The first thing that I noticed comparing to the Wrecker is definitely going to be that 70 watts of power per channel on the 8 ohm load. This guy gives you really nice thump, the bass is very full and lush, and pushes my woofers effortlessly. You get a little bit of shine on top, the mid-range being a touch more forward than the Wrecker. The Wrecker does seem to be a bit more transparent, although I wouldn't call either of these very transparent amplifiers. Besides, the more authoritative bass that you get with this amplifier is going to be its holographic image. The slight trade-off to a full solid-state Class AB amp versus a tube preamplifier Class AB is going to be in those extra harmonics. And that's apparent not only in the mids and highs, but in the lows as well. The bass isn't extremely controlled, but super fun to listen to. Comparing the bass to the HTA200, I would say that this unit gives you a little more control of that bass. That extra 20 watts of power per channel that this amp provides might not make a big deal in terms of volume, but definitely in that little extra reserve that you get for those bass hits. And of course, definitely trumps the 2 watts per channel on the Wrecker amp, which is much better suited for low volume listening. This unit is much more fun, much more energetic, wider sound stage, deeper sound stage, and more enveloping sound all around. And I think that's the main reason you would get an amplifier like this. Another note about this particular unit on these transformers, they do get quite a bit less hum than the HTA200. Now you can still hear it, but I have to put my ear about this far to hear it. Whereas with the HTA200, about 2 feet away, I could still hear that hum. For those two reasons, that extra power and the quieter hum, I definitely recommend spending the extra $30 and going with the Nobsound instead of the HTA200. Now, if you don't plan to crank up the volume and don't mind a little bit of hum, the HTA200 does have a phono in and that USB-B in case you want those extra inputs, so a little more flexible and a little more refined and more powerful on the Nobsound. As for that digital to analog conversion, I recorded some sample audio that you can hear at the end of this video, but what I got from this unit is that the built-in digital to analog converter definitely gives you a bassier sound with a little more reverb on the low end. The mids aren't exactly harsh, but they are a little crunchy with a little bit of digital glare. I compared this unit with its internal converter to the Doak U8, which is an ESS 9038 bass DAC. When using the U8 to decode the signal and sending the analog via RCA to the AV525's analog in, I definitely hear the difference in the bass. The bass is definitely less exaggerated but more precise. The mid-range loses that digital glare and softens up a touch, gets pushed a little farther back in the soundstage. Overall, an external DAC is an upgrade in this unit. However, I will say that the built-in converter does an excellent job. What I noticed when comparing the DACs in this unit is that the differences weren't as great as what I heard using the shit wrecker. And I think that definitely has to do with the tubes that are used. When you start adding the preamps, harmonics, and distortions, the difference that you get from the DACs gets a little bit tougher to notice. There's definitely a difference, just not quite as noticeable as with a full solid state design. So would I recommend this integrated amplifier? I definitely would. I really love the styling, I dig the VU meters, I love the feel of the knobs. The tubes tend to get a lot of attention. I had a ton of questions from family that was visiting for the holidays. Everybody seemed to hover around this unit. And a great amount of power. 70 watts per channel into 8 ohms will push a lot of speakers. This amplifier isn't about being natural or accurate. It's about a holographic image and a fun, impactful sound. Alright guys, I have some sound demos for you next, and I'll see you next time. Have a great one.